Everyone, Menachem Brodie here again for Human Vortex Training. Great response from the training while sick or ill video. You guys have all learned a lot, it sounds like, and you're starting to better guide your activity. I've had quite a few emails saying that you never knew that it should be the neck up. And again, that's just my opinion, but really, medically speaking, a cold generally is the neck up, and I have not seen an instance where people have trained from the neck up and had more time off. So something that works really well, and I'm glad you guys have gotten a lot out of it. Today, I'm going to kind of work around some of the questions I've been actually inundated with the last 2 weeks, and that is training indoors or training during the winter. Specifically, I'm going to focus on the bike and the run, and we're going to break this into a bunch of different segments, and I'm going to talk about how to dress properly for different cold weather degree ranges. And the reason I'm going to do this is a lot of you here in Pittsburgh, it was 19 degrees and snowing on Tuesday, and then today it was 42 degrees and sunny. And a lot of people have said on Tuesday, they emailed me and said, oh, thank you so much for the last video. It was great. I learned a lot. It's snowing already now. I want to ride inside. How do I set up a trainer? How do I put my bike in the trainer? What should I do so that I'm doing properly for indoors? What I want to do is keep you guys outside. Isn't the whole point of riding your bike and running to be out? Not stuck on a treadmill or on a trainer. We want you outside, riding, experiencing the different weathers safely, of course. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to dress properly for different degree ranges. The reason I want to do that is because as the weather changes, instead of watching a full video here, you guys can actually go and say, oh, I want to see it's 58 degrees, and how do I dress for this? Or how should I think about dressing? And I'm going to break it into ranges. What we're going to start with first here today with some basic equipment. So we're going to talk about helmet, we're going to talk about a road ID, which is really important, and we're also going to talk about a couple basic pieces of equipment that you can wear while you're going outside and you're riding, and these will serve you. We can do it on the cheap, so to speak. For winter riding, you generally want to spend a little bit more, especially if you live in the Northeast. Here in Pittsburgh, we can get up to 2-3 feet of snow like we did in 2010 in the late winter. Or we can get none and have an Indian summer, so to speak. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off talking about helmets, glasses. Yes, you should always be wearing glasses on the bike, and I'm not talking these kind. And also talking about a cycling hat and a couple basic pieces of equipment that will help you stay out riding safer and also in cold weather. So we're going to start off first with our helmet. This is my cold weather helmet. So fall, late fall, winter, and early spring, this is the helmet that I'll wear. This is an LAS. Well, it looks vented. For me personally, it doesn't vent as well as I personally like. So for the summer, I wear a specialized helmet which vents extremely well, whereas this one I really love for cold weather riding. The reason being is it fits my head really well, and while this helmet fits me really well because I have more of an oval head, as you guys may be able to see, the Giro doesn't fit me as well because that's more for circular heads. The Trek doesn't fit me as well because it's more for circular heads. So what may work for you and someone else recommends to you may not be right. So make sure you try a helmet on. It should be nice and solid. And we're going to talk about that first. I'm going to spend a lot of time on safety. I am an EMT, and unfortunately, I've been to a couple calls where, sadly enough, the cyclists have been hit. 2 of them were pretty darn serious. And it was not the cyclist's fault at all, based on the witnesses and when the victim was able to tell us what happened. The cyclist was in the way. And yes, as cyclists, I know that we will roll through stop signs and not necessarily abide all traffic laws. Remember, your vehicle, legally you are supposed to follow all traffic laws, and it's your responsibility for your safety and the safety of everybody that you're riding with, and that's really important to remember. On a group ride, if the light's turning yellow and you're 50 feet before the intersection, yell stopping, make sure you're slowing down and make an effort to safely stop, and make sure that everybody in your group is safe. Don't blow through a light, etc., and just use your head. So for a helmet, we want to make sure that it's working and fitting really well. And what this is, and a lot of helmets now actually have the zip on the back. And a lot of people may not use this. They just kind of leave it where it is and they throw the helmet off and on. Well, the problem with that is that, and you guys can see my road ID here is sticking off the side. This is to make sure that it goes out the door with me every single time. Every ride that I go out or come back from, it goes right here into the triangle on this side. And what that means is I am never without it. Even if I'm not thinking I'm in a rush, it leaves the door and I'm riding along, it's hitting me in the ear, and I can put it on while I'm riding. So road ID is a great idea. It's something really important that you guys should take with you every time. So the helmet, The reason why they all have the zip locks now is because even when this is properly fitting, and a properly fitting helmet should be 2 fingers here. We want to make sure that you have no more than 2 or 3 fingers, because what happens when you fall is the helmet may not be stuck on, and now it's going to move around. And you guys will see what it does to my hair after, okay? So we don't want that, and that's why we have the zip tie on the back. Now, before we even worry about the zip tie, first we have to worry about this and make sure that there's no more than 2 fingers space. Now, once we have that, the next thing, and the most common error that I see, is people riding like this. If your helmet looks like this, it's too small. If your forehead is showing that much, your helmet size is wrong. You need to go back and read the different sizes that are out there. There should be no more than 2 finger space between the eyebrow and the bottom of the helmet. I personally like to have it lower. I like to have it right on my brow line. And the nice thing about this LAS helmet is it will allow me to bring this down, and so it's going to cup the occiput, which is the back of your head. Now, you guys saw how much that was moving before. Now, as much as I'm pulling up and I am using a lot of force, this helmet is not going to go anywhere. So remember, when you're hitting the ground, God forbid you do have that, even if your head doesn't hit, if this helmet does not fit you properly, it's going to shift around, and you need to make sure, it is your responsibility to make sure that helmet fits you properly. So 2 fingers here, no more than 2 fingers here, and you want to make sure that it's nice and snug close to your ears. And technically I can have this up a little bit higher. With this particular helmet, I like where this sits on me, and as a EMS professional, I really think that it's set really nicely. So check your helmets, make sure that they work properly. Check your kids' helmets. They're going to grow every year. Now, here's the thing a lot of people don't know about helmets, is that if you're using a helmet, after 3 years, there we go, after 3 years, the product in this helmet that creates the padding for you breaks down. You need to replace your helmet every 3 years, even if you haven't had a fall in it. Does that sound silly? Yes. This is a $260 helmet. It's only got 1 more year in it, and then it's going in the trash. Not to the kids, not to Goodwill. It needs to be thrown out. And there is a reason for that, because if this is breaking down and you have an accident 4, 5, 6 years from now, you're screwed. It may not do its job. So every 3 years, throw your helmet out and get a new one, even if you haven't had an accident. Now, after you've had an accident, you want to check and make sure, even if you didn't hit your head, make sure there are no scuff marks and there are no indentations in through any of the padding or the external part of the helmet. The reason that's important is even though your head doesn't hit initially, you may snap and brush. You may not realize you hit your head. Anytime there's any type of crack or deformity in the helmet, it's time to throw it out. Even if it looks okay on the outside, if you see a little bit of a brush, better be safe than sorry. These are not made like a football helmet. These are made for one impact only. So even if it's a slight brush, go out and purchase a solid helmet for yourself. Now, talking about equipment. So, in here, this is the summer liner that LAS supplies, and this is the winter liner. What we can do when it gets colder, and you can see the difference in the venting here, there's this is kind of sewn in, there's less space as opposed to here. This is going to trap more heat in on your head. And we can use this, and we can interchange these. It just fits right in here, and it's really great. I love this feature of the helmet because when it gets below 40 degrees, I can throw this in, and then I can throw a cycling helmet or hat on top of it, and I have a nice warm head, and that's going to help keep me warmer. Remember, about 80% of your body heat is going to actually escape through your head. If you look at the football players during the really cold games and they're sitting there, their bodies aren't steaming, but their heads are. There's a lot of different small capillaries. That's why on the ambulance and an EMS, we learned that the abrasions to the face often look worse than they are because it's highly supplied with blood. So that's a place where we're going to get a lot of our air exchange, and we're going to be able to thermoregulate the best. So with your helmet, you can look for this. You can look for a helmet that has an interchangeable different lining. The other thing you can do is if you have a regular just a summer helmet or just one helmet, you can use a cycling hat. What this is great for, it's a light to moderate type of material. They are making winter ones out there that actually have flaps that come down and cover your ears, and that's probably the worst part aside from your fingers and toes that get cold. But the nice part about this is that when you put this on, this can be used for cool weather. It can also be used for rain, and I personally like to use this during rain because when I'm riding behind somebody else, I can actually go ahead and flip this down and combine with my cycling glasses, which we'll talk here in a minute. This is going to keep the water from coming behind the glasses and down onto my face. The nice thing about it is when it's not rainy, you can go ahead and flip that up. And now we have pitcycling.com, www.pitcycling.com on the top. And it's a great advertising space because in pictures, now you have the Panther, and now we have pitcycling.com. So it's something that's really great. It's an often underutilized piece of equipment. A lot of people think they're a fashion statement, but really they're very functional and very useful. Cold weather, wet weather, even in the summer. I'll occasionally wear this for a little bit if we're going out on a group ride. but really for the most part, it's best to use in cold weather because it'll keep that air from coming through that helmet and hitting your head. They do have helmet covers as well, but this has a lot more functionality. You can use it in rain, keep your vision clear, and as we all know, vision is the most important. So that's what we're going to talk about next. A lot of the riders that I know out there don't actually use cycling glasses. Now, the reason why the cycling glasses are important is because they're made to aerate, and if you guys look here, it has little tiny holes at the top that actually allows it to breathe, and you can see that against the color change in my skin. So that allows a little bit of air to come in so that my eyeballs can breathe, and that's really important. The other thing that this gives us is it wraps around to the side, so it's going to protect our eyes from anything coming up from the side. You know, if you're turning to talk to somebody, you can see it covers the whole of my eyes here, making it hard for anything to come in. Now, I have unfortunately been on a couple group rides where people who don't wear glasses actually get hit in the eye, and it's very dangerous because they can't see. They're worried about their vision. They're swerving all over. They're not thinking. These are seasoned riders who really know what they're talking about. So really important to get a nice solid pair of glasses. Extremely important. They need to be shadowproof. Don't go buy a $10 or $15 pair of sunglasses and think you're cool and you're good to go. You want to have shatterproof lenses, so spend extra money for these. These are optic nerve. I also have a pair of Rudy Project sunglasses that I wear during the summer that are shadowproof and have taken a beating. HVT athlete Samson McHugh has a pair that have been in 2 accidents, I think, and have fallen off his face, and they're still good. They've been run over. They're shadowproof. They work. They work well. So pay the extra penny for that. The other thing you want to look for is interchangeable lenses. These are my moderate light. So if it's kind of partly cloudy, partly sunny, so not quite the brightest out there, this is a pair that I'll wear. Now this pair also comes with 3 other lenses. True sunglass lenses, clear for when it's raining or dark, and also low lights. And this is great for when it's raining outside, it's dark outside, or it's stormy. So you have a couple different. I will take, if I'm not sure if it's early morning, I'll wear these to start with, and then when we stop, I'll change over into the sunlight ones, the regular glasses ones, and it's really great. Once you get good enough at bike handling, I actually now change them while I'm on the bike, as long as it's safe. So something really important for you guys to consider: eyewear. Because as all of us who wear contacts know, that when you're walking in the cold and that wind hits your face, your eyes tear up, and it can be extremely dangerous. So make sure you're purchasing a pair of proper eyewear to wear during the winter. The next thing we're going to talk about here are gloves. So 60 to 55 degrees, I like to wear, these are mountain bike gloves with a little bit of carbon fiber on the fingers. I just really like the feel of these. They fit my hands really well. Snug as a glove. There should not be a lot of movement in through these gloves. You should be able to pull in and keep them nice and solid. And gloves are an extremely important piece of equipment. A good pair of gloves will save you from brush burn and abrasions on the hand should you go down. They also help alleviate, they have padding to help alleviate the pressure on your ulnar nerve, and this can help decrease the risk of occurrence of carpal tunnel syndrome. Thank you. So really important to get a good pair of cycling gloves. If you ever are riding and you get numbness or tingling in through your hands and you're not wearing gloves, go find a nice pair of gloves that fit you, that feel comfortable. You don't want to tie them so tight that you can't feel the circulation. Just nice and loose, but there should be no wiggle room in through the hand here. So really important to purchase a good helmet. You can purchase a summer and winter helmet, a cycling cap. Again, we talked about that here, so you can purchase one of these. This is a really great cycling cap. I love it. It has a Cathedral of Learning and the Pitt 1970s logo with the Panther on it, and pitcycling.com on the inside. That is useful for rain. That is useful for cool days, cold days, and it can serve you really well over time. And then we also have the proper pair of sunglasses, again, with interchangeable lenses, so you can go out in different sunlights. Shatterproof, or at least shatter resistant, and make sure that they are polarized lenses. Really important. We have our road ID, which we're going to wear every time we go out. Really important. And we also have a proper pair of cycling gloves. So that is beginning to safety equipment for riding outside during cold weather. I'll see you guys for section number 2. And remember, train smarter, not harder, and it's all about you.